This PSA to CGC regrade is absolutely incredible. This submission has my favorite regrade yet. I nearly fainted when I saw it. I also regraded 4 cards from CGC back to CGC that I sent in my previous submissions that were originally from PSA. So there's some interesting results there as well that we'll get to later in the video. Let's get right to it. In the red corner, weighing 85 pounds, coming in at 5'2", the heavyweight champion of the world, Hitmonchan. No, actually, I don't know if he's a renowned boxer or maybe he just uses these gloves for show. But anyway, we have Hitmonchan EX Ruby and Sapphire Hollow. This one I got in a PSA 8. I wonder what's underneath those boxing gloves. Does he have like human-like hands? Does he have little sticks? Or are they permanently sewn to his body? Are Hitmonchan babies born with boxing gloves? Questions that probably don't even need to be asked. So my guess was that it was going to get a 9. And woof, we're off to a great start with this submission because CGC gives the card an 8. So from an 8 to an 8, not great. I think the reason why this one didn't grade so well is because there's a bunch of scratching on the hollow. Oh well, let's go on to the next one. All right, up next is Sceptile EX from Team Magma vs. Aqua. This one I got in a PSA 8. It looks like Sceptile enjoyed a little too much greenery in his time, and he's just really excited about it.
Oh, dude, awesome, man.
And he's like really pressuring you to try whatever he's on.
Dude, I can't wait for you to try this, dude.
My guess was that it was going to get a 9.5, and CGC gives the card an 8.5. Okay, so 2 cards in a row, we're losing money. We're not off to a great start, but it's gonna get better. It will.
Dude, take me to the nearest Poke Center because I'm starting to feel woozy.
Up next, we have Entei Magma vs. Aqua. This one I got in a PSA 8. Now, the listing that I bought it from said that they actually cracked it out of a PSA 9. So I'm like, okay, you know, maybe this is a good chance to get a 10. My guess was that it was actually going to get a 9. And CGC blessed me on this day and gave me a 10, which is fantastic. That's a nice value gain. I love this card. I love the legendary dogs. That's great. That's wonderful. Let's go. Dragonite EX Hollow from Dragon. This one I got in a PSA 8, and I actually contemplated not cracking this out for quite a long time because I did not think it was going to do well. I actually listed it on eBay for a little bit, but then I decided, you know what, let's crack it out. And when I did, I guessed that it was going to get an 8.5 because it had a lot of corner issues and some front surface issues. I'm not necessarily a fan of the pose that Dragonite is striking here. It's very angled upwards, and it's kind of intimate, and I'm not really a fan of it. I feel like it's a little too close. Can we just back away, please, from Dragonite?
You don't like what you see?
And CGC gives the card a 9. I'm pretty happy with that. There's a bit of a value gain. Definitely a nice little surprise. That's great. All right. Up next, we have Typhlosion Expedition Hollow. Typhlosion's arms in this picture look so incredibly small. Maybe he did some like weird medical experiment and it went horribly wrong.
Okay, Doc, put my arms in the machine and it should grow them, right?
Yes, Typhlosion, yes. You put your arms in my machine and it will grow your arms to magnificent lengths.
His arms actually shrunk instead of grown, and now he's really upset about it.
Why?
I'm so sorry, Typhlosion. I swear I calibrated the machine correctly.
No, I hate you.
This one I got in a PSA 8, and my guess was that it was going to get a 9.5. And CGC gives the card a 9.5, so a half grade off the 10. A little bit bummed, but it's exactly what I expected, so I can't complain. But that's all right. Let's move on. Vaporeon Skyridge Hollow. I definitely spent a lot. It's an expensive card, and I guessed that it was going to get a 9.5. Vaporeon seems to be jumping out of the water near an abandoned island. Maybe he's like ditched all of humanity and other Pokemon just to live on an island by himself in perfect and beautiful serenity and peace and quiet. So CGC gives the card a 9.5. So again, I guessed correctly here according to CGC standards, but the value gain here is a bit weird. So PSA 9s have been easily going for upwards of 1100 to 1300. So I think 900 is actually kind of low personally. You know, it could be a little bit higher than that, but I'm not sure. You never really know at CGC 9.5. Sometimes they're a little bit lower. That's fine. That's great. Things are still going really well. Here we have Squirtle Expedition Reverse Hollow, illustrated by Yuka Mori, who is, I believe, is fairly popular for the work that they do with these kind of clay molds of the Pokemon, which I think are really unique and really cool. I got this one in a PSA 8. My guess was that it was going to be a 9. As you can see in the scan, there's a little bit of hollow scratching near the Wave Splash move, but I still thought it looked pretty nice. And you won't believe what CGC gave this card. They gave it an Authentic Altered. So yeah, I was like, what? Okay. I cracked that out of a PSA 8. This is a Pop 1 card, so it's kind of cool. I guess the reasons why they found coloring on the back edge and like the corners, I can't find it. I don't know, but my eyesight isn't perfect. I don't really know what to do with this card because I really love this card. I might just hold on to it for a bit. And don't worry, Squirtle. Okay, I don't care what they say. You're not altered, okay? You're beautiful just the way you are.
Is something wrong with me?
No, Squirtle, I swear, okay? You're authentic. You just might be altered a little bit.
Did you alter my genetic code?
What? No. Okay, let's go on. Blastoise. Now imagine bringing Blastoise to a water park. Just to imagine the amount of fun you would have, hydro pumping the ever-living crap out of your friends. I think that would be a big hit maybe at children's birthday parties.
Mom, can we get a Blastoise for my birthday party this year? Well, sure, honey, sure thing. And we can get one to fire some high-powered jet streams at your friends. That sounds great. Yeah, that sounds amazing. Thanks, Mom.
But then Blastoise comes to the birthday party and he's like,
I don't do the water thing anymore. I'm a clown, okay? I do clown tricks, okay? I'm a birthday clown. I stopped the water thing years ago.
That's okay, little Bonbon. We can get you a refund.
Ah, dang it.
this one I got in a PSA 8. My guess was that it was going to get a 9. And a pleasant surprise on this one, CGC gives a card a 10, which is amazing. That's the biggest value gain so far of the submission. That's incredible. Fan-flippin-tastic right there. That's great. Let's go on to the next card. Up next, we have Venusaur base set Shadowless Holo. I've been trying to get a Shadowless card in a 10 for a little while. Venusaur, this one I got in a PSA 8. My guess was that it was going to get a 9. CGC gives the card a 9.5, so that's pretty good. So it's funny that this card from an 8 to a 9.5 has a way bigger value gain than that Vaporeon from earlier. I guess it is what it is. You know, I don't determine the market value of cards. So again, super excited about this one. It's a nice value gain. It's a great card. I love it. Yeah, it's a little bit of a tease because, like, come on, you couldn't give that half grade to a 10, but again, it's perfectly fine. Pikachu first edition with the yellow cheeks, not the red cheeks, because the red cheeks, I guess, is the error card, and they fixed it with this one, I think. This one seems to have like a grayer stamp or something. I don't really know, honestly, the differences between like all the different stamps. So the first edition is like thick stamp, gray stamp. I'm not quite sure. If anyone knows more about that in the comments, feel free to leave a comment and just, you know, knowledge dump what you know about first edition stamps. Go ahead. This one I got in a PSA 8. My guess was that it was going to get a 9.5. CDC gives the card a 9.5. So again, I guess correctly according to CGC, which is always nice. Making a little value gain too in the process. That's fine. That's great. Did I wish it was a 10? Yeah, I did wish it was a 10, but what can I do? There's nothing I can do about it. So let's just move on. Slow King Neogenesis first edition holo. This one I actually cracked out of a CGC 9 that was previously a PSA 8. I cracked it out because I thought it looked really clean to me, but after I cracked it, I noticed in the bottom right edge, there's like a lift to the card, but I'm like, I think it still could deserve a 9.5, and CGC gives the card a 9. That's another tally towards CGC being completely consistent from a 9 to a 9, which I'm okay with. That's fine. We're still making a little bit of money. It's a really beautiful card. That's okay.
Oh, starry night, so beautiful.
Giovanni's Persian first edition holo. Again, I cracked this out of a CGC 9.5. I wanted to do some testing of CGC consistency back to CGC. I guess it was going to get a 9.5 again. Now, I think the reason why I got a 9.5 is in the bottom edge, there's some whitening. And so I still guess it was going to get a 9.5. What do you guys think? You think CGC is consistent again? Do you think it'll get a 10? Maybe a 9? And CGC gives it a 9.5. So that's 2 cards in a row. It got the same exact grade from CGC, which in my opinion is pretty nice to see. Rocket's Mewtwo first edition gym challenge holo. I love that he's generating a sphere, about to toss it on some little tiny Dedenes or some little tiny Pachirisus who just had no idea that the end of days were coming for them because they stand no chance against my guy Mewtwo. I got this one in a PSA 8, and I guess it was going to get a 10 because it looked immaculate to me. And CGC gives the card a 10, which is awesome. But here lies a bit of a problem. I sell a lot of CGC cards, and to get the value sometimes can be a little bit painful and a little bit tough. So the PSA 10 price, last one sold for $4,000. One sold on November 9th for almost $1,600. And I was like, okay, that's not too bad compared to $4,000. I'll take it. And then there's bad news number 1. It looks like another card sold for $820 more recently in an auction. It's like the whiplash of CGC prices sometimes are not great. But wait, there's even more bad news. I went over to Alt and I saw that the card that sold for almost $1,600 was actually relisted and was never paid for. So it was actually the same exact card that sold in the auction for $820. I think $1,200 is a fair value for it, considering it's like 30% of a PSA 10, and the highest one it's ever sold was $1,875 back in June. So I'm gonna stand by that, and we know what CGC auctions, they tend to run a little bit lower. It is what it is. It's just it's just bad news after the other. I thought it was worth a bit more, but oh well. This is the fun that comes along with trying to figure out CGC prices. What can you do? I can't control the market. Let's go on. Okay, we got the same card, but this one is the unlimited version, and this one I actually cracked out of a CGC 9.5. This was originally, though, an 8 from PSA. This was the highest graded card of my worst submission ever, so this was the only card in the submission that got a 9.5 or better. A half grade bump has happened before, so let's take our chances and try one more time. So my guess was I was going to get a 10 because, again, it looked incredible, and CGC gives it a 10. So from a PSA 8 to a CGC 9.5 to a CGC 10, I am happy with that. I think that's more fair of a grade according to CGC standards, because like I said, the last time I submitted this card, it seemed to be a bit of a harsher submission, which unfortunately can happen sometimes. Really happy about that, because I was going back and forth if I should regrade or not. So it is interesting to see that we got a half grade bump here back to CGC. Dark Dragonite Hollow. This one I got originally in a PSA 9. I thought it was a bit harsh because I thought it was going to get a 10. Funny thing about this card, I actually put it up as one of the options for my first free giveaway, which is for the 1,000 subs giveaway. The winner chose the other card and not this one. So I was like, okay, I'll send it back into CGC, see what we get. My guess was that I was going to get a 9.5, and CGC gives it a 10. I think I got a little bit lucky here, and to get a full grade bump back to CGC. I've never gotten more than one grade bump from CGC yet in my regrades with them. Maybe we will someday. I have also never received a grade lower than what I sent back to them in the first place with them. So it is very interesting so far. In general, I'd say with the 4 cards of the submission, 2 went exactly the same, 2 went a little bit higher. I still think that's fairly consistent relative to, you know, other grading companies where we see crazy jumps from like a 6 to a 10, etc. Up next, we have Rayquaza EX Emerald Hollow. This one I got in a PSA 8. Now, this one is interesting because it looks like he's flying on like poison toxic cloud that he's emitting from his like tail holes. I don't understand what's going on.
Don't pay attention to that, okay? This is just gas that excretes from my body when I get excited.
Okay.
Don't huff it. It's extremely poisonous.
Anyway, I guess it was going to get an 8.5 because I didn't think it looked, you know, that great. CGC gives the card a 9. So a half grade higher than I expected. I think overall so far in the submission, I think CGC has been a little bit more lenient than I expected, but I've also been harsher on my guesses when I look at the cards. So that way I'm not disappointed when I get the grades back. Here we have Gardevoir Secret Wonders Hollow. This one I got in a PSA 9, and my guess was that it was going to get a 9. If this would get a 10, the CGC 10s were selling around, I think, 400 or so, but the most recent PSA 10 sale was for $5,000. When CGC 10s sell for like 400 and PSA 10s sell for 5,000, that to me is insane. Like, I get it, CGC 10s aren't as valuable or as wanted, and CGC gives the card a 10, but something also interesting, it's an insufficient ink error. And I believe the issue here is that if you look at the flowers behind Gardevoir compared to a regular card, there's a lot less vibrant. You can barely see the background behind Gardevoir, which I think is such an incredibly cool error and a really cool card. I put the value at a little bit above the $400 CGC price. So yeah, really interesting to get an error card from CGC, which happens every now and then. I really like that they're thorough on their error cards, and they tend to catch a lot more errors than PSA would. Dark Charizard Team Rocket Hollow Unlimited version. This one I got in a PSA 8. And again, I'm trying to be a bit more harsh with my guesses. I guess it was going to get a 9. And CGC gives the card a 10. Incredible. I'm so happy at this point in the submission. We've had 7 10s now. There's only 2 cards left. Let's keep this train rolling. Let's keep getting higher grades. I like seeing numbers go up. Number big, good. That's great. Let's go on to the next one. Okay, I said I had my favorite card regrade in this submission, and here it is. I got it in a PSA 9, and I guess it was going to get a 10. It looked really nice to me. I couldn't see anything wrong with it. And as some of you may guess, CGC gave it a pristine 10, making this my favorite card I've ever regraded. It's amazing to have this unique card in a pristine 10. I put it at around PSA 10 price, but honestly, it could probably fetch a little bit more. I'm throwing myself a party. I'm having a great time. Okay, the last card in the submission, the second Gengar in a row. I haven't graded any of these cards from this set yet. This is Gengar from Triumphant Holo. This one I got in a PSA 8, and my guess was that it was going to get a 9. Mainly because of the back bottom right and back bottom left edges and corners didn't look great. And CGC gives the card a 10. I think this is probably the most lenient 10 I've got on a CGC card. I know that they can be a bit lenient on corners, but this one I feel truly lucky to get a 10 on it. I believe the last PSA 10 was sold was around 8,000, leaving that I think there's room for this card to grow. An amazing way to end this fantastic submission. All right, let's go over the grade changes. The PSA average was 8.15 and the CGC average went up to 9.5 with an average bump of 1.35 or 16.5% increase, which is my best grade increase yet for a submission. That went super well. And to go over the final results, total cost was around $7,000. And if all my guesses were correct, which they never are, my total value would be around $10,100. The actual value is around $15,000, giving me a profit of about $8,000. That's amazing. It's incredible. But to get 9 out of the 20 cards coming back at least a 10, I'm giving myself an A+. That's great. Stay tuned for more regrading videos. Also, feel free to join the Discord. There's a link in the description. If you join, you're eligible for the completely free occasional giveaways, and we have chats about Pokemon cards and all that fun stuff. I'll see you next time. Bye!